Hi, my name's Brandi Souza, and I've been a member at Elevated Health since 2020. I have this story how Elevated helped me get through what I went through. I had mastitis, which is it's a chronic breast infection that you usually get when you are nursing. You can get it chronic because obviously I got it after breastfeeding, and then it just stuck with me, and it went into chronic, which is very rare that you get chronic. Men can get it, females can get it, but it's usually women with breastfeeding. It's a breast infection. I would get mastitis, and that started off with, before that, I have fibromyalgia, and then it was really bad. It never was getting any better. Every year, I felt like I needed more medication, or I was always angry. And then I started getting infections. It started off with a kidney infection, and then it went into a mastitis. And then the reason why I got mastitis is the first time was after my daughter. After I delivered my daughter, I got mastitis while breastfeeding, and then it kept on going. My body formed a hole. I went to the plastic surgeon, and he sidelined it with a trach vac and sucked out at 1,100 dense milk. The kind of doctor I was seeing the first couple times was my OB. He had no idea. He heard about chronic, but he didn't hear about the breast infection staying with you. So I seen him obviously all the time. And then my insurance took me to this place, and I never really thought about it being inside my implants because with the insurance I had, this plastic surgeon, I would never go with because of the insurance, where they told me I had to go with HMO. You have to go to this place. And the doctor that I seen there had no idea what chronic mastitis, or he didn't know why I was having it. He got angry with himself because he didn't know, but he took it out on me like something was wrong with me. And it wasn't. I was lying about that I had breast infection. And it was a horrible experience. So when I went into the doctor's office, they would give me antibiotics. It would go away, and then I would still have the fluid through the hole. So when I would go out, we were, for my sister's wedding, we were at a venue, looking at a venue, and I felt it coming on again, and I would throw up all over the bathroom. And I still had the hole. And then we went to Disneyland as a family. I would run off, instead of people run off to go breastfeed or pump, I was running off to let the fluid out of my hole, because when they told me, they said just put a maxi pad. It's the most sanitized thing you can put under there. And so I would have to change the maxi pad and the fluid, and then lean over the toilet at Disneyland and let the fluid leak out. It hurt, but I got through it. And then eventually, after taking the maxi pad, my hole closed up, and I was fine. There wasn't a little indentation underneath my breast augmentation. I had 2 breast augmentations. The first one was done when I was just turning 18. I was still 17, so I had a parent consent. And then that was saline, and I had those for 13 years. And then I went to rehab, and now I'm sober. I got them redone when I was in nursing, and I had those for 8 years, which were silicone. And then I got pregnant with my daughter a couple years later. So getting back to the hole closed up, and the fibromyalgia kept on getting worse. Every single time I would have a bad flare-up. My periods were worse. I was very lethargic, very tired, and then I knew that an infection was coming on. So when I came to Elevated Health, I got routine labs done with Dr. Matt on my official first appointment. We went through all that, went through my labs. I couldn't really focus, but we did the labs, and my white blood cells came back high, which I've never had that happen to me. I never even got labs when I first got diagnosed. I went and got an ultrasound, everything else, but they never did my labs. So I wasn't having any symptoms. We looked at my labs, and they weren't that high that Dr. Matt was nervous, but it did put him at alert, because we needed to figure out if I had the kidney infection or it was my breast infection. And then later down, I was telling him that my fibromyalgia was not getting better. It kept on escalating. So we were, the Cymbalta, if we should go up, we should go down, we should maintain. And he helped me just maintain it, because you don't want to ever go up or down in medication. Well, down is good, but you never want to go up in medication because of your fatigue or your fibromyalgia. So the first symptoms was the end of December. I sent Dr. Matt, which was crazy because it was Christmas and it was New Year's was coming up and Christmas. I sent Dr. Matt a picture of my bottom of my breast, which was the form of like an abscess. It wasn't that big, but my breast was red and hot, and I didn't feel good. I had body aches, my fever, like a low-grade fever, and Dr. Matt put me on the antibiotics. And then Dr. Matt, of course, because it was Christmas and everything, he went out of town, and then within a couple hours, Dr. Paul McKinley stepped in. We were on the original antibiotics that Dr. Matt put me on. They weren't just, I think my body immune to them, and they weren't working to clear this infection. And the other ones we were already on for 7 days, and it wasn't showing any difference. So when Dr. Paul McKinley stepped in, we kept on antibiotics. We tried a new one, and we continued those. They didn't make me sick. And at that time, they were getting, on the antibiotics, they were getting worse to a point. So if you look at it, Dr. Paul said, things are gonna look bad before they look good. So that abscess is not gonna just go away. Obviously, if you have an abscess, it needs to open up and drain. Dr. Paul did not, he was gonna drain the abscess, but we talked every morning and every evening. I would send him pictures, and within a couple hours, the hole opened up. I would send him daily pictures of how the hole was changing. So it went from like 2 little holes, and they were black. So it scared the shit out of me. We thought that the black was something internal, which it wasn't. The black was my implant. And then the only thing that was holding together was a little slab of skin. Then when that broke off, which Dr. Paul told me it was going to, he brought me in right away. I was in so much pain from the hole. He looked at it and he checked it, and it was my implant. When your implant is in your breast, it shows dark. And then when you hold it, it's obviously translucent, it's clear. So he looked at me, he was very calm, and he said, listen, that's your implant. It's contaminated now that it's in the air. And my plastic surgeon retired. Dr. Paul found me a plastic surgeon within like a couple hours that would do the explant surgery. Dr. Paul did everything, from making the appointment to talking to the doctor. He got me a facility because of cost with the ER. He got me into Dr. Vu, who had an OR that also had experience with this. So on the surgery day, Dr. Paul got me an appointment to actually do the consult, but also said that that it's possible that they do the surgery that day. So I fasted. He talked to Dr. Vu, and they both agreed that we need to remove both implants. Dr. Paul did help me make that decision. And he got me in at 3 p.m. and I was in surgery by 4. And Dr. Paul called me when I got home. It was in the evening, and asked me how I was doing. And then we did talk about the antibiotic. We continue on antibiotics till I felt a little bit better. So I was home. The surgery went great. They got the infection out. When I woke up from the surgery the next day, and my breasts were gone, my implants, it was difficult, because in the beginning you never think that you pay for these breasts. Like, I had loans that were, the first one was like 5 years I paid on my first set of breasts, and I paid for them. They were mine, I owned them. And then even the second set, which was $5,500, and I owned those. I paid those off, big time loan. And then, I went through everything with these implants. I went through rehab, I went through ups and downs of weight change, and then through my daughter. And it's just hard to lose something. There's a reason why women get implants. They feel insecure with their breast. And that was me. Even though you think that you don't have a decision at 17, well, you do. And I wanted implants, and I got them, and I worked very hard for both set of implants. The only reason why I got a second set is because on implants, there's a time frame that you can have them. Yeah, I was very upset about losing my implants, but since the day after my surgery, mentally, I feel better. Physically, I feel amazing. I haven't worked out for about 2 years, and I'm a big time lifter. I used to work out every single day and eat clean, but the fibromyalgia obviously got worse because of the infection. And now that I feel so much better, I've actually started working out again. The symptoms of the fibromyalgia have lessened extremely. I don't feel so fatigued. I have more energy. And it's just crazy to have in your mind these implants mean so much to me, to not having implants till now. I would never get implants back in. Dr. Paul has got me off antibiotics. I was on antibiotics for at least a month and a half, and he's contacted me. We went through medications. He still contacts me, and Daniel. They all ask me how I'm doing. This is a long journey. That from the breast implant, I feel better every single day, and thanks to Elevate, I have my life back. I feel like they saved my life from beginning to end because of how Dr. Paul took me in as, like I was his family, like his relative, and he just saved me. And how easy it was to communicate with Dr. Paul was a blessing. Not only medically, he was there for me, like mentally. I think I sent my boob pictures to like the whole office because I just needed someone to be there for me, and that knew what this mastitis was, or chronic mastitis that was behind an implant. And Dr. Paul texted me and messaged me like probably every hour to the leading up to the surgery day. With Elevated Health, I actually don't know where I would have been if it was with another facility. Elevated Health, basically I tell Dr. Paul and I tell Dr. Matt, and I did send a gift basket to them that said, thank you for saving my life, because I'm lucky to be alive in the sense of I could have went septic. They're very shocked on both ends, from a plastic surgeon and a general doctor. They're both amazed how my body did fight it, and that I'm not, dead from a septic infection. Elevated Health is accessible, affordable, and amazing healthcare.